Ho, ho, ho! John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner of the world. Wishing everybody out there in the YouTube land a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Krampus, whatever it is you guys choose to celebrate. But today, this is our Christmas Essentials Day. And I had to bring the guys all together. These are the guys that has helped me make this channel what it is. And I'm just so thankful for them all to have a special time where we can just talk some of our Christmas essentials. So I got the brothers Carson from the North and South Rock and Metal Connection. How you guys doing tonight?
Wonderful as always.
Oh, right. We got balloons going off in Jason's place. That's awesome.
How do you guys do that stuff? Don't ask me. I didn't do it.
Gotta love it. And of course, we see him, you see him with me every Wednesday night, Sean the Music Nut. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well, my brother. And my
I'm trying to figure out the balloon thing.
How y'all doing?
Doing great. How did the balloon thing happen?
Look at that. Gary made it snow.
I'll tell you, that's awesome, man. I'll tell you. All right. So what the premise of tonight will be is that we're going to list off 5 essential things that we like, that each of us enjoy doing at the Christmas time. It can be a movie, it can be a record, an album to listen to, it can be just a family tradition, it can be a meal, it could be anything along that line, but it's all stuff that you just do during the Christmas holiday. So, anyway, so this could range from all kinds of different things. You know, who knows what could come out tonight. But I think it's going to be a inspiring, fun night tonight. So, Ben, I'm going to go Ben, John, Jason, and then me. That's how we're gonna run the order. So, Ben, kick us off.
All right. So my number 5. Are we going from 5 to 1? Right.
5 to 1.
Okay, 5 to 1. Number 5. Very important for me. I do it most of the year anyway, but at Christmas time, I try to double up on it, and that is listen to Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I'm a huge TSO fanatic. I've loved them for years and years and years. Yes, I play all 3 of their Christmas albums, plus their bonus 4th Christmas collection thing all the time. I actually walked out down the aisle at my wedding to one of their Christmas songs, and my wife did the same thing with Jason playing lead guitar at it.
Nice.
And it's just, TSO is a huge part of me. It's where I get a lot of my playing style from. Al Petrelli, Alex Skolnick, they're insane guitar players. They've all done stints with, Alice Cooper, and have relationships with Kiss and whatnot. And they've just been all around over the years. But TSO really changed the landscape with heavy metal instrumental Christmas music when that album first came out in 96 or 97, whenever it was. But yeah, that's huge. I don't feel festive unless I've heard, at least one of the Christmas albums by TSO.
Very nice. And they were just here in Birmingham just a couple days ago or so.
We were going to go to it, but they're touring the Christmas Attic, their 2nd album, which is a great album, but it's just not up there with the first or 3rd. So yeah. I decided to take that money, and that's how we were able to go to Savannah for a few days. So
very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yes. All right, John, what you got?
All right, mine aren't going to be anything unusual, anything like that, but I'll stick with the music here. About 27 years ago, maybe, my mother picked me up a double CD of Jim Croce's greatest hits. It's called the 50th Anniversary Collection. Now, it doesn't have anything to do with Christmas, but for some reason, because I got it for Christmas, I always listen to it at Christmas time. I don't have it with me right now because it's already in the car, because I play it in the car during Christmas when I'm traveling to see my family and all that and running errands around Christmas time. And I play at my CD player at home also. But that CD, despite the fact he's not singing about Christmas on any of these songs, it has that calmness and tranquility that I feel at Christmas.
That
So
only Jim Croce can bring.
yeah, really. Yeah, so that's my first one. I mean, I don't these
Okay.
aren't going to be in really any order or anything, but that's something that I always do at Christmas since the late 90s.
Okay. Good stuff. Good
Oh,
stuff. Can't go wrong with Jim Croce. That's
it's
good
awesome.
stuff right there. So all right, Jason, what you got?
Well, mine are in no particular order because I really can't rank them. But
Right.
Absolutely.
my first one I will say is the newest, and it's a song, but I think it is a Christmas song that should be played all year long because of the message of the song, and that is Sabaton's song "A Christmas Truce," which was on their album "The Great War," which was about the Christmas truce in 1914 during World War One, where both sides just said, "We're not going to fight anymore today against their government's wishes." So it's a brilliant song,
Nice.
and it really encapsulates what Christmas should mean.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not about the commercialism, it's more about the meaning and brotherhood of men and all of that.
Yep.
And yeah, that's my number 5, I guess, if we have to rank them.
Sure. All right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, good. No, I love that. That's good stuff.
Metal
Well,
Dad.
all right. Well, I'm gonna stick with the music, but yeah, I'm not gonna be bringing the metal with this one. So my first pick. Now, this is something that I was introduced to. Oh boy, somewhere probably in the very early '90s, I think. Um, this was something that it was on a kind of a new age label for music. It was just that ambient kind of very soothing kind of music style that these particular artists would do on this thing. Um, and it's this album called A Winter Solstice. Windham Hill artists. This was the first one. They would do I think they got up to number 6. But this one is by far and away probably my favorite. Um, you have a man doing a man named David Quayle doing a Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring on classical guitar, which is just an absolute beautiful version. You have a few other people doing just very winter atmospheric kind of songs. You have saxophones, very somber sounding saxophones. You have some hammered dulcimers and guitar, acoustic guitars, piano. You have a lady named Liz Story playing green sleeves on the piano. Um, Bach Bourrée from the French Suite. You have that being done by a couple different people. So just a very soothing album, but not necessarily Christmas carols or Christmas songs per se, but it's just got that winter feel, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just soothing. I think I had it on at work today, and I must have just let it run about 3 or 4 times or something like that. It was just maybe that's why my day felt like it took 14 hours to finish a 9-hour shift. I don't know, but it was still a wonderful it's a wonderful little album. It really is a wonderful series. I need to listen to the others again just to see if my heart has changed on the others, but this one is the one that started it all. So there you go. So
Awesome.
Ben, next up, what you got?
Okay, so number 4 is a tradition that's been going on for us for about 10 years now, since my youngest son was born. We go in our city, they have we used to have a bunch of cotton mills and yarn mills in this town, and they shut them all down. And every year they set up a carousel, a Christmas carousel covered in lights for the whole Tri-City area to come and ride for free and meet Santa Claus and have hot chocolate and all that stuff. And we go 3 or 4 times every Christmas just to go out there, let the kids ride the merry-go-round a little bit, and just they're blasting the Christmas music on the PA speakers. And it's set up by our local sportsplex where I used to teach DDP yoga at, and they set it all up real nice, and that's just pretty important thing for us, is to make sure that we go to the Langdale carousel at least once every Christmas. We usually go more, but that's a fun little family outing for us.
Was just there today.
Nice.
Isn't it great?
It is. It's a cute little setup they got.
Very cool. Very
Awesome.
cool. All right, John, what you got?
Okay, so we spend Christmas at my mom's house. So I have 2 siblings that live locally, and we all go there with our respective boyfriends and girlfriends. And the gift that I give every year is I make a family calendar.
Mm.
And I've been doing it for going on 20 years now. And the calendar should be here tomorrow. Snapfish, I'm counting on you. So far, Snapfish has been great. York Photo eventually let me down, but Snapfish kick butt. But I wrap it up, and everyone knows what it is, but everyone looks forward to seeing what pictures I put in. Because I'm not on social media, but I go through my mother's Facebook account, which she goes in the account and says, do what you gotta do. And that's where I grab the pictures. So
Next level stalking right there.
that's right. I mean, for a purpose, a positive one, mind you. But everyone looks forward to open up the calendar and see what I got going on. So there's another tradition, nothing spectacular, but it's something that we do.
Sure.
My aunt did that for us for a couple of years, and I really enjoyed the family calendars with all the birthdays in it and everything.
Yep. And pictures of your grandparents that's no longer around. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that really, you're doing a beautiful service, John. You keep it up.
Thank you. I do, and I do still have those who've passed, like my father, my grandmother. I still keep their birthdays in there, just so we all remember.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You get me, bro. You get me.
That's good. Now that's really good stuff there.
Thank you.
That's great. All right, Jason.
Well, this one is a very new one too. He's only about 3 years old, but I really do not feel like the house is set for Christmas until this little guy comes out.
Oh yeah.
Can't hear it, but I can imagine
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very cool.
that's awesome.
Very
rocking
cool.
out.
This is next to some of the ornaments I have on my tree.
Mhm.
This is my favorite Christmas thing in the house. And it just doesn't feel like Christmas until he's up there.
Nice.
That's
Very
great.
nice.
And Ben's 2 little boys, whenever they come over, they have to walk by, and every time they walk by, they push that button, and they just love it.
They love it.
Awesome.
Gotta love that. Yep. Yeah, that's yeah. Anything to do with the Charlie Brown Christmas is always a good thing for me. Typically I would probably have put that on my list because that is a true essential. But my next thing is, now speaking of Charlie Brown, I have been told that when it comes to Christmas, I am a mix of 3 people or creatures, depending on how you want to look at it. Charlie Brown, the Grinch, and Ebenezer Scrooge. Now, why is that, you say? Well, that's because of all the years of working. First, I worked in a wholesale business. We were already having to look at Christmas stuff in July and August. So we were, because that's, you're having to set up to sell that kind of stuff. So I'm already looking at this crap already in the summertime. And then you start working retail. Well, that pretty much completely kills any holiday spirit you could have. But there is something I was first introduced to this particular version with Albert Finney in 7th grade in my English class. And the Christmas Carol story in movie has been told many, many, many times. There's so many film versions out there. So there's 3 that I have for me that are absolutely essential for me to watch. So I'm going to lump all 3 of them into one pick. Obviously, Albert Finney's Scrooge is one of them. This is an absolute, while it doesn't exactly stick to the story 100%, it gets enough of the bases, but there's a lot of wonderful songs in this thing. Wonderful songs. Albert Finney does a great job as Scrooge, and then you just have a bunch of other characters that it's just perfect. Another version that I love to watch, and this one actually goes back a lot older than when I first saw Scrooge, but because I can remember seeing this as a kid, and this is a big time favorite in my whole family, but Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol.
Nice.
Now, they mix the order of the ghosts in this one, but it's still a classic. Again, also wonderful songs mixed in there, but I think it's a fun version of the Christmas Carol. And then there's another version that I love to watch. And of course, you got to. I mean, a few years ago, it was actually here at the when the Alabama Theater had their Christmas movies in December. They had this one.
It is the best telling of the story there's ever been.
I highly agree with that. I very highly agree with
Michael Caine knocked it out of the park in a children's puppet movie.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Hey,
But
John, that one might be mentioned later.
More on that later. But anyway, yeah, we got to see this on the big screen back in, I think it was 2017. And unfortunately, they've not brought it back since. But it was really cool to see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
And so we loved seeing that. So anyway, these 3 versions of the Christmas Carol telling in the movie, that's essential for me. So
bingo.
Awesome.
Ben.
Well, I haven't seen the Albert Finney one, so I can't speak on it, but since you mentioned that was your childhood Scrooge, I gotta say mine was always George C. Scott.
That's a very good version too.
And that one, I mean, that one, it was really powerful to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, because and I think that one was probably one of the most closest ones to the, because there's more on that kind of stuff a little bit later.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too much ahead of ourselves. Ben, number 3, what you got?
Number 3 brings me to Christmas movies. Soon as December starts, I start watching them. What is it? The local ABC or Freeform channel or whatever it is starts the 25 movies of Christmas and all. And
yeah.
Since the kids came along and have gotten older and love Christmas movies as much as I do, so we try to watch them all. We watch, Elf. I watch Christmas Vacation. I haven't let them see it yet because it's got a lot of foul language and it's not really for youngins. But we watch, Noel, The Muppet Christmas Carol, you name it, A Christmas Story. We watch it all the time. They Jingle All the Way, the Santa Clauses 1, 2, and 3. We watch them all the time. It's not Christmas without the Christmas movies. Not including Hallmark in that. That's they don't get watched at all, ever. I'm sorry. I have
I have
to
a
be
question.
really bored for entertainment to watch a Hallmark Christmas movie.
I have a question.
What?
Are you including Die Hard and Gremlins in that too?
I haven't seen Gremlins in a hot minute, but yes, I did watch Die Hard last year. Just, you know, you got the Advent Hans Gruber calendar where he falls down all 25 flights every day.
Because it's not Christmas until you see Hans Gruber falling from the window.
That's right. So that's my third tradition of the year, is to include a lot of Christmas movies, much to my wife's dismay, because she gets tired of it, you know, pretty easily. But I'm a huge Christmas nut. I can't help it. Gotta watch them. Gotta stay holly and jolly.
There you go. All right, rock and roll. All right, John, number 3, what you got?
I'm gonna echo Ben. When we're at Mom's celebrating Christmas, we always watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I picked up the DVD a bunch of years ago. It's been sitting there ever since.
Are you
Because
serious, Clark?
Oh yes, that's an RV.
Oh boy.
I pledge allegiance to the
Wow. It was an ugly tree anyway.
Yeah.
That's one of the best movies ever.
There's so many great lines in that. The best is just out of I think that Chevy improv this. When the post was broken, he got the chainsaw, he cut off the part at the top of the post, and he goes,
Yep.
"Post fixed."
Post is fixed.
That seems so improv because he's that talented.
Oh yeah.
We do watch It's a Wonderful Life as well, but that's not every year. That's just like, Christmas Vacation's always watched first.
Yes, right.
If there's a football game on that night, that might get watched too, but we will watch Christmas Vacation before the night is over. Oh, and by the way, we celebrate Christmas Eve. Christmas Day is like the recovery from Christmas Eve. And that's the way it's always been with my family through my whole life. It's always been a Christmas Eve thing. When we were young, we would only open 1 or 2 presents Christmas Eve, but then that was the party because people would just come to our house. We had a good lifelong friend of mine, Jim McGuire, who hooked me up with a lot of great vinyl. He came over to my house for years, and when he moved to Michigan for a while, he would still call us Christmas Eve. He doesn't come over now because he has a family and all that, but it's always a Christmas Eve thing. I know I'm going a little off track, but yeah, Christmas Vacation is mandatory.
Got to have it.
Yes.
Get you something real nice.
Yeah.
It's the gift on giving.
Oh boy.
Yeah. A gift certificate for the Jelly in a Month Club.
Oh,
You know what's always great about those movies? When what the heck is his name? Eddie's always trying to get some sugar from Ellen, and Ellen's always going away.
kissing cousins.
There you go.
Oh boy. Jason,
Not
what
on
you
the
got?
lips, Art. He's got some kind of lip fungus they ain't identified yet.
When he gets in there, best thing to do is just let him finish.
Oh,
The whole
boy.
movie is one liner after another.
yeah.
It is. It really is.
And how about when he when Clark starts flipping out and he does the hallelujah holy shit at the end?
Where's the Tylenol?
And then if you watch it and it's on like cable and they have to censor out all the curses, that's even funnier to me.
Yeah.
I think the whole movie is best summed up, at least Clark's character is best summed up in the Walmart scene when he takes that little pack of light bulbs and sets them down, and then Eddie just comes in with that big sack of dog food and just crushes it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
Jason, what's your number 3?
it don't matter.
The rest of the show, folks, will be talking about National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. We interrupt this program.
Well,
all right, Jason, go ahead.
Sticking with the theme here, I'm going with. I mean, and it is a well-known tradition in my household. 24 Hours of a Christmas Story.
Mm-hmm.
It will be on. I mean,
yeah, the whole time.
Yep. We might not watch all 24 hours of it, but I guarantee at least 18 of it's getting watched.
That's right.
Now, here's a question for you guys. Who has actually gone and gotten Chinese food on Christmas Day?
No.
I have not.
I haven't either, so I just had to ask.
No, not done it yet. I have drank wine while the kids open presents.
Probably necessary sometimes.
Mom and Dad had a great idea with that one.
Yep. And I have yet to be able to find one. I know they're out there. I've seen them out there, but I have yet to be able to find to go on my tree sitting right over there. I have yet to be able to find the leg lamp Hallmark Christmas ornament. Because when I find that lamp, it's going on the tree, probably right beside Darth Vader.
All right. So for anybody watching out there, just hit us up in the comments if we got one and you want to sell it to us at a reasonable price.
Right. I had to get mine in Frankenmuth, Michigan, which is the Christmas capital of North America.
Oh.
Yeah. That's where Greta Van Fleet is actually from as well.
Well, there you go.
I did not know that.
I need to have that to go on my tree though, because it's a special award.
Sure.
Italian.
As long as you don't shoot your eye out with that thing.
I always
Right.
know.
That Johnny Reb.
It's Italian. It's like the Princess Bride. It's got everything. It's got cowboys and robbers and special awards and
wrestlers.
fruit baskets. It's got everything in it.
Yes.
Bullies and heroes, Chinese cooked ducks. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little kids saying 4 little words.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Got a very young Brian Johnson from AC/DC in it.
Very, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hilarious. When I started seeing that, I'm like, oh my gosh, he really does look like a young Brian Johnson. Oh boy.
That was pre-Gordy even. I mean, that's
that would be way pre-Gordy.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
Funny though, what's funny is that Ralphie has now been in 2 of the most popular Christmas movies of all time.
Yep.
Because he was in Elf.
Yeah.
He was.
It's so funny what Ralphie went into in his life. He got very involved with NASA, and the whole space program stuff. He got really involved with a lot of the educational type stuff, especially because I think he was actually on hand, unfortunately, the day that when the shuttle went up and it unfortunately exploded. I know that was I believe he was actually there. But he got very much into the educational part of things. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So all right, well, my next choice is going to go back to the music. And now this is another one that I showed briefly on the Ladano show. But I mean, gosh, this thing goes back with my mom being a huge fan of Johnny Mathis, of course. The first Johnny Mathis Christmas album, Merry Christmas. He has he's like 5 or 6 Christmas albums out, and they all pale in comparison to this one. This one is there's just when I listen to Sleigh Ride, I want to hear his version. Sometimes when I hear Winter Wonderland, I really want to hear his version. He does a nice version of Oh Holy Night, even if it is just the one verse, he doesn't do more than that. Um, White Christmas sounds good, even though I always think of it as a Bing song. Um, but I mean, he does a good job. It's a nice mix of the secular with the church songs, because you have Oh Holy Night, what child is this? First Noel, Came Upon Midnight Clear Silent Night, Holy Night, and Silver Bells. But I mean, I have to. I mean, I just love this. I love this album very, very much. So
Yes,
have
yes.
to give Johnny a little extra little more love than he probably really deserves. But
No, he
it's
deserves it.
no, he's good. I do enjoy it. But yeah, his first one, by far the best of all of his Christmas albums that he's ever done. So
He was one of the last of the generation of crooners. He really
he's
was.
still out there singing.
Oh yeah.
In fact, he just did release a Christmas album a couple months ago. So I don't doesn't sound that good, but I didn't like what I've heard, but it's fun. It's all
Oh
still
yeah.
fun, and he still sounds good in concert. You know,
Yeah.
saw him back in 2016, and that was the last time my mom would go see him, because she won't. She's like, I got to see him with my family. Why do I need to see him again?
Yeah.
And she's had opportunities. She won't do it, but no, I love that album. It's wonderful. That was another one I think I played about 2 or 3 times at work today, and
Good.
just
Good.
great album. So, all right, Ben. Now we're
All
to the
right.
now we're to the number twos,
Number two.
which I hope it's not full.
This one's number. Don't blow it into the open storm drain. This is a important one to me. Every year at my church, we do the hanging of the grand ceremony and the setting of the poinsettias on the altar in memory of all of those who have gone on before us. And it's always a beautiful little ceremony. We have all the kids walk down and set all the poinsettias out, and they hang all the wreaths and ferns and garlands everywhere. And it's been hitting, it hits harder every year, because every year there's more and more of my immediate kinfolk that get called out in the ceremony. And that's it's just a beautiful tradition. I got really emotional this past week when they called out my grandmother's name, and my Uncle Bill, who passed away 2 years ago, or it was 2 years ago. And
Oh,
yeah, and
God, it's
it's
been 2 years.
yeah, this is our second Christmas without him. And it's puts things in perspective a little bit, and it makes you appreciate what you have more, because you could lose it at any time. And I don't mean to somber out the mood of the show, but that's an important part of Christmas, is honoring those that you've lost over the year as well, and keeping them close to you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. No, nothing wrong with that at all.
It's
All
fantastic.
right. All right, John, what you got?
All right. So where I live, it's more like Little House on the Prairie. We're kind of spread out. So this is part would be for me, it'd be like taking care of those who take care of you.
Mhm.
And my neighbor, Tom, is really cool. We all look out for each other, but we're all spread apart. But once in a while, he'll send me a text. Hey, I haven't seen you lately. Are you okay? He has pulled cars that got stuck in the mud in my driveway out of my yard. He has a plow, and what he does is he takes care of the horse farm across the street. He has this long driveway to his house. He takes care of the house next door, and he plows them all out. And then he'll go and he'll plow me out. So I make sure that I take care of him. So, but he doesn't want he really doesn't want me to. But one year he said, "You owe me a beer."
Mhm.
And about a month later, I came over with a 36 pack of Budweiser on my shoulder, and I walked through his yard, and he's got a big yard. He goes, "You didn't have to get me that much." I go, "For everything you do for me." So every year, John gets Tom beer. He prefers Budweiser, but I do mix it up. I do give him some craft beer now and then. He's always grateful for it. He always sends me a text going, "John, you don't have to do this." No, I have to do this. You take care of me, I take care of you.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and in addition to Tom, I take care of my mail girl. And I say mail girl because my out here, people don't usually have mail trucks. It'll usually be their own vehicle, and they put the US mail sign
Yep.
on top of their vehicle. So my mail girl, and I've had a few mailmen and mail girls over the years, and then they've retired. She treats me really good. She will put packages in my car so no one takes them. And it's an understanding. And the previous people did that for me too and asked me if it was okay. And I said, absolutely. If my car is locked, they put the package on the porch. If it's raining, they make sure there's plastic all over it. Or they make sure that it's on a part that it won't get rained on. So Rita gets a nice tip and a card every year.
Beautiful.
So yes.
Lovely, lovely Rita.
Mhm.
Very cool.
Yeah, I thought that too. I hardly ever see her. And we've barely spoken to each other. How I know her name is she sent me a card back.
Oh, that's cool.
But
I
I mean,
applied and I got a position as a rural carrier one time, but I practiced driving from the passenger seat and I just couldn't do it, so I turned it down.
okay.
So they're a different type of hero right there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
Good
There you go.
stuff. Good
Thank you.
stuff. All right, Jason, what's your next one?
Well, it's probably going with a song. It's absolutely my 100% without a shadow of a doubt favorite Christmas song of them all. And yeah, I have favorites that have done it, but it's without a doubt, it's "Oh Holy Night." It's the most beautifully perfect Christmas song ever written. And it's a hard song to do bad, but my Lord, my God, when you do it bad, it sounds terrible. I've heard bad versions of it, but my favorite version will always be Trans-Siberian Orchestra's instrumental of it. I mean, that's just an excuse for a guitar player to go nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot remember the guy's name, but there is a version of it that I have found on YouTube where a guy does it with a piano and then it comes in as a full band. He does it blues style and it sounds amazing. I'm talking straight up Southern blues and it sounds beautiful.
Huh.
Joe Diffie on his Christmas album that he did many years ago, he did an amazing version of it as well. And there's others out there, but yeah, it doesn't matter which version it is. It has to be the song "Oh Holy Night." That is, it's not Christmas without that.
My wife would probably agree with you on that one. That's probably one of her favorite Christmas songs, actually. So in fact, I just played her a version two metal guys doing Oh Holy Night. It was a guy named Dan
Dan
VASC.
Vask, I heard that today.
Yes. Yeah. Oh
He
man.
just released that today, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
I love Dan
That's
Vask. I follow
oh
him
yeah,
all over
he's
YouTube.
great.
He's great.
He's really good.
Yeah,
Um
his version of Amazing Grace is brilliant.
yeah.
His version of Kiss from a Rose is amazing.
Nice.
I've what the one that I thought my wife would really appreciate when I was going scrolling through his videos. Um I came across him doing Petra's Beyond Belief with John Schlitt and John Lowry from Petra. And so I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
What got Christy was his cover of Heaven is a Place on Earth. She
Yeah, I
loved
heard about
that one.
that. Well, yeah, so there you go. But yeah, Oh Holy Night, I mean, you can't go just
Can't go wrong.
again,
He
beautiful,
knocks it out of the
Absolutely.
park.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So
Absolutely.
all right, my next number two. We alluded to this a little earlier in my viewing. And I agree, the George C. Scott version is a wonderful version of the Christmas Carol. I remember when that came out, my brother was working for IBM at the time, and IBM was a big sponsor of that. So he was getting sent a bunch of little odds and ends of memorabilia of the that tied in with that version. I don't know if he still has it. I should ask him that one time. But anyway, the one thing is about it that I really liked is much how a lot, even though there are moments it takes a lot of an artistic license, it really does stay pretty true to the original story, which is this right there. So I have gone, I think, about 12 or 13 years now, where on December 21st, I will start with chapter 1. I'll read chapter 1, and then the next day I read chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. Christmas Day, I ended off with the final chapter of the book. It's just 5 chapters long. So it's a very, very simple, only about 100 pages long. So I have made a tradition of reading Dickens's Christmas Carol every year. And
Awesome.
I tend to always find something new that stands out to me. I don't know how it does that. I always find something new that I'm like, that makes me think. It always catches my attention, and it always just kind of makes me think a little bit. So and it's just really, I don't know. It reminds me of, I guess there are times that I feel like I can be a bit of a Scrooge.
Mhm.
When I'm at work, I think I get so focused and in the zone that I get my nose can be kind of to the grindstone kind of thing. So I get kind of intense with it. Um, so I wouldn't say, but I'm definitely not I'm not this stone hard curmudgeon that Scrooge was.
Yeah.
I go back to what I said about how I'm three people compare me to Scrooge and the Grinch and Charlie Brown all rolled into one. Well, here's the thing. And well, I'll save that for my number one.
Mm.
So Ben, let's kick them off with the last ones.
I'm gonna go honorable mentions
Okay.
before we do.
We can do that.
And before we do that, I would like to say that according to some research I have heard, the 3D CGI animated Jim Carrey production of A Christmas Carol from a couple years ago is said to be the most accurate depiction of the 5 chapters that has been made so far.
I would agree with that. Yes.
Yeah. I tried to watch it with my kids and I cut it off about 30 minutes in because it was too dark and creepy. It was scaring the kids a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean,
So-
first and foremost, it is supposed to be a ghost story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it freaked them out. I haven't went back to finish watching it, but they did say it was the
Hmm.
most accurate telling of the story that has been made.
well, that's kind of
Anyway.
how the George C. Scott version was too. It was kind of really dark and creepy.
It's very dark and creepy because one of the things that you never get to see in a lot of Christmas Carol tellings is, and I'm not going to spoil anything for something for those of you who have never read the original story, but there's something that happens at the end of Ghost of Christmas Present that you rarely ever see in versions of the Christmas Carol. Very rare. The George C. Scott version was one of them that did. And I believe the Jim Carrey version also did too, but I it's been a while since I've watched it. But not a lot of versions will include that ending part of the Christmas Present part of the story. And so, like I said, I don't want to spoil it for those who have never read the story. I encourage you, please go seek it out. You can get it on iBooks. You could probably get it pretty cheap, I'm sure. But anyway, so back to you, Ben. I'm sorry.
Honorable mentions. Number 1, my mom's rum balls. She makes them every year. I think it was last year. It might have been year before last. She made them a little too strong, and we all got kind of sloshy during the Christmas party. And it was a very Merry Christmas indeed. Yeah, she makes them.
It was a fun time.
Yeah. They were very bitter tasting, but we kept eating, and it was great. And I look forward to those every year. I really do.
That sounds like my brother's father-in-law. He used to work for the state store industry up in Pennsylvania, and boy, he would bring over this eggnog that you had no idea what was in that thing.
Yeah.
I tried it once and had to drive back home to Maryland. I'm not sure how I got home.
And that's my second honorable mention is the old eggnog. Doesn't have to be alcoholic. Just the straight Barber's eggnog from the grocery store is perfect for me. The kids love it. We all love it. It's a great way to add on extra pounds if you need to, fill out a Santa suit. It's delicious.
I'm actually drinking a plant-based eggnog.
There you go. They have
It's okay.
alternatives out there.
It's actually not bad. It's not as thick as most eggnogs, but it's actually not bad.
Yeah. And my third and final honorable mention would be deer hunting season. Staple of my life every winter. Great way to get extra meat in the freezer, food on the table. We had some venison chili today from my 10-year-old, just got his first deer a few weeks ago. Killed him with a spike, dropped it. We got 40 pounds of meat out of it. For
Uncle Ted would be proud.
That's right. That's right. So, deer hunting is a big part of our winter tradition. So, and that concludes my honorable mentions.
Okay. So do you have a number 1?
I do have a number 1.
All right. Well, let's
would be the old family gift exchange, the family Christmas parties themselves. It doesn't feel right without them. It's always a madhouse, crazy, chaotic whirlwind of traveling, driving, buying gifts for everybody. But at the end of the day, it's always the sweetest payoff in the world. This year in particular, we're having Christmas party at my sister-in-law's house in Jacksonville, Alabama, which is 2 hours from where I live. We're driving an hour and a half back to our hometown of Wadley to spend the night at my in-laws' house so that my dad can come over and see our boys have Christmas morning there so that we can drive to my mother's house after that for Christmas lunch and then drive an hour and a half back to Jacksonville that night to spend the night there so that my wife can and all of her sisters can partake their tradition of going the day after Christmas shopping. But the gift exchange parties are always great. We draw numbers or we draw names, and I guess it's a secret Santa. It's not a dirty Santa game. It's just a secret Santa. We draw everybody's names, buy them a little $40 gift, tell them you love them, have big meals, eat too much, food, watch a lot of TV and football. It's the best night of the year, hands down.
Awesome.
Gotta love that.
That's great.
Gotta love that. All right, John, let's go. I don't know if you have honorable mentions or not, or if
I
you're just gonna
don't.
go. Okay,
I'll just go straight to number one.
go for it.
Thank you. I never had kids, so what I do every year is I adopt a family for Christmas. Now, I started doing this through the company I work for, and it would usually be a department would adopt a family, which I was part at first, and then I said, "Oh, I'm going to do this on my own." And I would adopt a family. They give you a list for every member of the family, how many members of the family do you want to buy for? Or like do you want a family of 2, family of 4, family of 6, etc. So a couple of years ago, my company got bought out by a company that's based out of Colorado, and they didn't do local charities in Pennsylvania. So I decided, well, I'm just going to do this on my own now. So now I don't do it in the name of the company I work for. I do it just solely on my own. And for me, that's me taking care of people, because when we were growing up, we didn't have a lot. And my grandmother was an angel. She never made a lot of money, but she made sure that we never had to want. The most money she ever made was like $6.66 an hour, and she worked at a nursing home. And she lived a block up the street. What I always say is, we had 2 mothers when we were growing up. So I remembered that, and I said, well, I want to be like Nana. But what I do is I do it for a family that I'm never going to meet, because I just think that kids should open Christmas gifts. And the families that I do it for, I'm not going to give a name or anything like that, but it's for a home for abused women. So, and they may not have the resources to buy their kids gifts. So that's just something I do.
Man, if I was around you right now, I'd hug you so hard we'd both be in the floor. Good night.
Yeah,
Thanks,
that's
buddy.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Man,
That-
you're the reason why kids believe in Santa Claus. That right there, you make Santa Claus real.
Thank you.
Right there.
I'll drink to that. That's good.
Thank you.
On behalf of the human race, I say thank you.
Good night, man.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, John. Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
Nice.
cow, dude. Chivalry is alive and well with that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Jason. Now you got to follow that up.
Yeah, good luck. I'm glad I went first. Woo. Oh, making me teary-eyed over here.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that would love to do what you do too,
I mean,
because I can't do that. I mean, I mean, I don't know if I'm a little envious of what you do, Ben.
Oh, man.
But that's awesome though.
That's one of the most beautiful stories I've ever heard in my life right there. Just adopting a family that you don't know, you never met, and making sure their kids have Santa Claus come and visit them at nighttime. That's crazy.
Thanks.
Yep.
it really is. That's a special kind of person that does something like that.
Oh, thank
Love you in
you,
the-
Jason.
Man, we need to send you a beer. We owe you a beer.
Oh, thanks. I'm actually drinking a beer right now. But
Oh man.
KO, 6.5% from my favorite brewery, Trug's Brewery,
All right.
Hershey, PA. So
Drink up.
that's right.
All right. Well, now I've got but I can follow that, but it's going to be on a whole different level. I can't tug at heartstrings like that. But first, I will give you my honorable mention. Even though I've never personally experienced what was sung about in the song, some of it, it will, my honorable mention is the song by Alabama, Christmas in Dixie.
Yeah.
I've only a handful of times in my 44 years on this earth, I've only seen it snow in the pines 3 or 4 times.
Maybe.
But
Maybe.
but it's still it's one of those just incredibly nostalgic Christmas songs, especially for somebody who grew up down here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's special. It holds a special place in my heart, and that's my honorable mention. And my number one, I said I'd get back around to it. My number one is the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh yeah.
It has to be. It is without a doubt. Anyone who knows me knows that this is my absolute favorite Christmas movie of them all. It's and it's it is because it was such a heartfelt movie, because it was the first one that Muppet Studios did after Jim himself died.
Yeah. Yep.
It
Yeah.
was, I mean, Jim was all over that movie in spirit, and that's what made it so special.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, and for those of y'all out there that want the complete version, when you go on Disney Plus and you pull up the Muppet Christmas Carol, click extras, and if you go down there, you will find the full version that has the song When Love Is Gone in the movie. It's not taken out like it was for the theatrical release. That song put so much emotional context into the scene where young Ebenezer broke up with his girlfriend. And it goes to show part of what made Ebenezer turn into Ebenezer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And it's such a poignant song that's not even sung by Muppets in a Muppet movie.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you can feel Ebenezer's heart breaking when he's watching this with the Ghost of Christmas Past, and then you see Michael Caine as Ebenezer walk over there behind the girl, and he starts singing with her, and his voice is breaking as he's singing. It's just, it adds so much to that movie that they never should have taken it out.
Yeah. It's the ending song in that movie, The Love We Found. If you watch the extended version, you'll see that song was a sequel song or a second part of a song. But if you don't watch the extended cut, you don't realize that. But it makes so much more sense when you see the extended version.
Yep. Very, very true. Yeah. No, that's
and
like
sidebar, Feels Like Christmas by the Ghost of Christmas Present is my absolute favorite Christmas song of all time.
Nice.
Now he's got fireworks. What is happening here?
Must be something in his Zoom thing. I don't know. Gotta love it though.
That's
all right.
good.
Well,
Awesome.
great stuff. Great stuff. So no arguments here. So all right. So for me, let's see. I don't know if let's see if I can pull this off. So the year was 1997. Christmas Eve, 1997. And I was at a time in my life where throughout the month, I had a lot of times where I felt like I just wanted to go up along one of the highways and I wanted to look for a speeding tractor trailer and I just wanted to step out in front of it. That was where my life was at the time.
I'm glad you didn't.
No,
Very, very
I'm very
difficult.
glad I didn't either. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. But and that because that will tie into what I'm going to be talking about here. But but earlier that day, I spoke with one of my customers, a friend, a customer I knew, and I knew that they went to a particular. I grew up as a Lutheran as a kid, and so so I knew they went to this one Lutheran church in town. So I said, hey, is so and so having Christmas Eve services tonight? And they said, yeah, 7 and 11. What time are you going to be there? 7. Okay, I'll be there. Really? Yeah, I'll see you there. So I went and experienced a beautiful Christmas service. Just was nice to hear all the lovely songs. You didn't hear all the garbage songs and stuff like that. So I get home, and the original tradition was that this would usually always be watched. Well, I didn't have it. Not anymore. Long story, don't need to go into that. Ancient history. So I had to settle for something else to watch. And so I wound up picking It's a Wonderful Life. I'd seen it already. Now, mind you, this is before DVDs. This is 1997, so DVDs hadn't started really coming out yet. And so I had a VHS. So I'm watching this on VHS. And I was getting kind of tired. So I thought, I'm going to go to bed. So I just stopped the movie, went to bed. Now, the job I used to work at woke me up at I was always awake at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning because I had to be at work pretty early because our store hours were from 6 to 3. And we always had to get our drivers out on the road and stuff like that. So we had to get them out pretty early. So I was already up. So I went back downstairs, and one of my customers had given me a small little decorated tree, and I had 2 cats at the time. And so I'm watching the rest of the movie, and I'm looking at the tree, and I see one of my cats I think both of them are kind of laid up around the tree where these little presents from people at work gave me or whatever. And so I'm looking back and I'm watching the movie, and I go back, all the while the movie's going on, you're seeing George Bailey going through life, after he's met Clarence, and, he's done the thing with he's seeing life without him now. And I just kept going back and forth. And every time I kept going back and forth, I could just feel more tears welling up in my eyes because I was realizing I was George Bailey. I was wishing my life away. I was wishing I was gone, and I suddenly realized, okay, God, I understand it. You put me here for a reason, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. You put me here for a reason. And now I'm like, okay, take me. I'm yours. Do what you need to with me. What is it you need me to do? So that's when I started going back to church again, and I started to understand the Bible better. I started being around men who were godly individuals and so forth. So I walked away from a lot of the stuff I was doing before then, a lot of the music I was listening to, a lot of the movies I was watching, a lot of the magazines I was reading and stuff like that. There was a lot of that stuff I walked away from, and just kind of almost a little like Malcolm McDowell's character in Clockwork Orange. When he goes through that therapy thing, when he's force fed watching the violence in Beethoven's Ninth is playing, and he feels like he's about to get physically sick. Well, I honestly started getting that way towards some of the things if I started going back to some of that stuff, early on in those days. Obviously, I'm not that way now, but I realized my heart had to change.
Yeah.
So for me, a big tradition has been I always need to be at church on Christmas Eve. I always have to attend a Christmas Eve service. I mean, we did as kids. We always did usually wound up going to the late night 11 o'clock service and whatever. but now that they've gotten away from doing those, except for maybe some churches, but I have to attend a Christmas Eve service. It's just, it's a necessity for me. I have to be a part of that because I can't, there's nothing I can do in my life without attributing to God and Jesus in my life. I just, not to be preachy here at the end, but that's just how it is.
Hey,
I
that's
know,
beautiful.
I can't do anything without that. So, and I'm very thankful for that in my life.
Would none of us be here without that?
So,
That's right.
so yeah, so that's ultimately my number one. Yeah, I could have picked Charlie Brown's Christmas, of course, because that ties into it too. It's like, because is there anybody who can tell me what Christmas is all about? Well, sure,
Hey,
Charlie Brown, I can. And then you hear the verse from Luke, which censors didn't want that on there. Networks
Spencer
didn't want
want
that.
it.
Network didn't want that on there, but Charles Schultz is like, if you want this special, that's going on.
That's going on there. I mean, we wouldn't have any of these traditions if a virgin didn't give birth to a child in a manger.
Nope. Nope.
So,
Nope. Absolutely. So,
king
so
of the
there,
world.
so there you go. So we have a nice mix of hilarity and somber, but very serious, but very heartwarming
John the Music
things,
Nut got
man.
me.
That,
He
I
got
mean,
me.
everybody had a lot of great stuff.
Thanks so much, man.
So, you know, one more thing, just so in case y'all haven't been plugged on this enough, go check John out on martin.popoff.com,
Thank you.
for the Blue Oyster Cult book. You can go on Amazon and you can find this little book on the band Y&T. John got to take part in both of these books. And so it's very cool to have a literary guy in my steed here. That's pretty cool.
Thanks.
So I got to plug those again for him. But guys, this has been a wonderful, I hate to say it because I can't stand the song, a wonderful Christmas time.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I hope you all in watching this, I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. Whatever holiday you choose to celebrate, even if you don't celebrate any of them, I hope you find some kind of something special that you can say, yeah, I like this about this day, these traditions or whatever you guys talk about. I like this, and maybe dig a little deep in why it is. I don't know. But with that being said, Merry Christmas again. Happy New Year coming up. We got for everybody. For the brothers Carson from the North and South Rock and Metal Connection, for John the Music Nut, my good friend on the 5 Count, our Wednesday night shows that we see all the time. We got Dangerous Toys December coming up soon. We got that ending up, and then we start off 2024 with a bang. And we're gonna try and ram it down.
Right.
And we're going to be riding on the wind too.
Yep, absolutely. So there you go. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad. Again, God bless us. God bless us all. And Merry Christmas to everybody.
Be excellent to each other.
Merry Christmas.